Hi, welcome back to Villa Molino Cookery Club. It's the first cookery class of 2022. Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today we're going to start with a very easy classic recipe. You've always thought about it, you've always tried to do it, and you've always failed. Now I'm going to show you the right way to do it, the classic way, and you will succeed. So this recipe is going to be French onion soup. So, French classic onion soup. I'm going to show you a little bit about the ingredients. This is a classic dish. We've got the sliced yellow onions here, and we've got bay leaf, salt, pepper, thyme, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of flour. Yes, a little bit of flour. We've got the lovely Gruyère cheese, which we're going to toast our little baguettes on, the little round baguettes. We've got butter, we've got salt, and a bit of garlic. So, classic French onion soup. I'm going to start with the onions now. For classic French onion soup, also I've got a very large flat bottom pan here because I want to show you what I'm doing. Once I put the stock in, I'm gonna transfer it to a high-sided pot and let it cook. So French onion soup, just testing it. Right, there's a certain way that we need to cut the onions. French onion soup, you cut the onion, you've got the top of the onion and the bottom where the root is. You do not cut the onion across from top to bottom, you cut along. So the top of the onion is at the top of the knife and the bottom is at the bottom, like this. You cut along the onion and you don't use a machine and you don't use a mandolin. So what you want is slices like that. Look, that is the sign of a proper chef doing a proper French onion soup. This is how you cut the onion, not across, along the onion, because you want some of the filaments to stay together. Right, so we've got the onion. What are we going to do? We've got olive oil, we've got butter, we want to sweat the onions. Plenty of oil, plenty of butter. We want to sweat the onions at least, ladies and gentlemen, at least 30 to 40 minutes, because we want to caramelize. We want to caramelize. So, what do we hear? Sizzle, sizzle, yes. We want to caramelize the onions. Now we put the olive oil, we put the butter. We want to slowly, 30 to 40 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't try and cheat. Don't try and do it quick. We're going to put a little bit of sugar. A little bit of sugar. I'll give you the measurements. And that's going to help with the caramelization. Now we're going to sweat that, and we want the color. We want that golden color on the onions. Then we're going to add a little bit of flour, a little bit of wine, a little bit of garlic, then the beef stock. So we're going to go ahead and get some color on these onions, and then I'm going to come back to you with the next step, because now it's a 30-minute wait to get the color on these onions. Back in a minute. Okay, just a little note, it's just been about 10-15 minutes. The onions are getting a little bit of color now, so I'm about halfway through doing the onions. I'm going to put the garlic in, the next stage. Just shave the garlic in like so, using a microplane. You want to crush the garlic because you don't want pieces of garlic in the soup, but you want it to give a flavor. And the more you cook the garlic, the more it will become sweet as well. So I'm just going to use the garlic on the microplane like so, and put it in with the onions and let that sweat down with the onions and get a bit of color. Okay, so we need another about 15-20 minutes to go. It's starting to get a nice color, as you can see, look, nice color. Give it another 20 minutes, I'm done with the garlic. Then we do a little bit of flour, a little bit of deglazing. Then we put all the seasoning in, and we put our lovely beef stock. French onion soup, beef stock. Back in a minute. Okay, so it's been about 30 to 40 minutes. We've got some lovely caramelization here and some lovely color. Now the key is you want color and caramelization. If you do it fast with the heat too high, you're going to get the color, but you're not going to get the caramelization. The caramelization comes after 30 to 40 minutes. 30 to 40 minutes, you'll get the color and the caramelization, which it releases all the sugars from the onions, and you're going to get that lovely sweet French onion soup flavor. French onion soup cannot be done quickly, so we've got 40 minutes color and caramelization. So now we're just going to put a little bit of flour in, little tiny bit of flour. That's just going to help so the soup's not too watery. We don't want watery soup, so we're just working the flour. Let the flour cook out a little bit. I'll give you all the measurements later. Let the flour cook out, and we're going to turn the heat up because we're going to deglaze it. Now I'm going to deglaze it with Sauvignon Blanc. You can use sweet sherry, vermouth, Martini Bianco, brandy, whatever you want. I think the classic is sweet sherry, but or vermouth, yeah. So I've got the flour just cooking out now, and I've got the onions a nice color. What I'm going to do is I'm going to deglaze, bit of wine, and now you can see the flour is taking on the wine, and it's becoming nice, like almost like when you start to do a bechamel. So nice and sloppy and gooey. So what I'm going to do is now let the wine cook out a little bit. That's cooking out. We're going to put the beef stock in. We put the beef stock. We put the seasoning, salt, pepper, thyme, bay leaf, beef stock. Then we're gonna toast the baguette slices, and we've got some lovely Gruyère cheese which has been mixed with Parmesan. We're gonna toast that. I actually don't have the French onion soup bowls, so I'm gonna do a trio. So I'm gonna do like 3 portions in here, and I'm gonna do the crostini on the top. So the wine is cooked out. I can hear it sizzle, sizzle. Let the wine cook out. Right. Now put a little bit of beef stock, turn it up, and just get all that stuff that's stuck to the bottom, get it all out, little bit at a time. Little bit. Get it all out. So now we put your bay leaf, a couple of bay leaves, we put your thyme. What time is it? Yes, it's time. Right, put your thyme. I'll give you the measurements. Bit of black pepper, bit of salt. Right. You see that was stuck to the bottom of the pan. That's all coming out now. That's all coming out. So what I'm going to do is put the beef stock in. I'm going to transfer that into a high-sided pot. I'm going to let that cook another 30 to 40 minutes. Yes, this is not something that you want to rush. This is coming together nicely. Look, nice. Oh, what a lovely aroma. Put the stock in a little at a time, like you're doing a risotto, because you want to get the sugar out from the onion. Yes, little at a time. Then we can gauge it. I've got 1.5 kilo of onions. I'm going to tell you how much stock to use. I think I'm aiming for 1.5 kilo of onions, 1.5 kilo of stock. So we're nearly there. You don't want it too watery. We don't want it too watery. This video is going out to my good friend, Dr. Arfan Taba in Dubai. Very, very nice good friend and exceptional dentist. He fixed my tooth. Thank you, Arfan. I'm coming back to have some more work done. This is classic French onion soup for you, Arfi, in Dubai. Right, so we've got 1.5 kilo of onions, 1.5 kilo of beef stock. So we've done the seasoning. Now put it in a high-sided pot, put the lid on 30 to 40 minutes, let all that come together. You don't want it to evaporate too much. And I'm going to come back to you, and we're going to toast the bread. We're going to put the Gruyère on it, and I'm going to finish it off. Back in a minute. Okay, so French onion soup, we're nearly there. We put the beef stock in, we put it on the high-sided pot, let that cook with the lid on for about half an hour. Now we take the lid off, and now we're going to let it simmer down to the consistency that you want. If you want it more runny, eat it now. And you want it more thicker, let it simmer down a bit more. Adjust the seasoning, away you go. So we've got our little baguette pieces here. Little baguette pieces, we've toasted them. So we've got our Gruyère and Parmesan mix. So we're gonna toast this in the oven. I'm doing multiple serving here, so this is about 3 portions. So we're gonna put 3 Gruyère pieces, but if you have a French onion soup bowl, you put the soup in, you put the bread on the soup, you put the Gruyère on top, and then you put the whole bowl. You put the whole bowl under the grill. It can get a bit messy, it can get a bit dangerous because the bowl's gonna be hot and everything. So I like to toast my bread and then just put them on top of the soup at the end. So we've got our lovely, be generous with the, you see, look at that. Be generous with the Gruyère and the Parmesan. Put it on the tray so if it falls off, it doesn't matter. Be super generous because this is a yummy part of the dish. Look, you see how tall that is? I'll show you in a minute. Look at that. Pile it high. Pile it high, yes. And then you put it under in the oven or under the grill. The bread's already toasted, so we just want to get a bit of colour on the cheese. Super, super. Right. So look at that, look at that. Pile it high, pile it high. Yes. Right, I'm going to put that in the oven and then I'm going to show you when they come out nice and gratinated. Right, I'm going to pop this in the oven. Back in a minute. I'm going to come back to you when I take these out of the oven. Okay, this is the last bit. I'm not going to bore you anymore. I'm not going to bore you anymore. I've got the croutons. They're just the bread slices. They're just gratinating in the oven. I've got my serving dish. I've got my French onion soup. 30 minutes lid on, maybe another 20 minutes with the lid off. It's lovely, thick. Look at that, lovely soup. French onion soup has to be cut by hand, not cut in the machine. So let me get the croutons. Here we go. Wow. Look at that. Lovely, look at this. Beautiful. Arfi, look at that. That's how it's supposed to be. Look at that. Here we go, right. So we've got a lovely croutons. We've got a lovely soup, nice and thick. This is where you can play with the seasoning. You can add a bit more salt, pepper. Right, look at that. We're gonna serve it now, look. Beautiful. Nice, thick French onion soup. And because you put the flour in right at the beginning, it's all gone. You're not gonna taste the flour. But you wanna see the way the onion is sliced, that's very important. Right, look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, French onion soup. Here we go. Put the little croutons. Wow, et voila, as they say. Et voila. Look at that. I'm gonna put 5. Ow, it's hot. French onion soup, ladies and gentlemen. Put 4. Should I put 4? 4 is enough. All right, turn everything off. Here we are, French onion soup, ladies and gentlemen. See you next time. Thank you, bye-bye.